Welcome back for another episode of Branching Out with Sierra. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that's near and dear to my heart because I have over the years learned how important it is to take care of my health. One important piece of leadership is how you lead yourself, and health became an important part of leadership for me. As many of you know, our loyal listeners, I have chronic Lyme disease, and so my shift into my business happened at a time where I was coming off of my second round of bed rest from a Lyme flare-up, and I didn't have a choice but to slow down and take care of myself. But my hope in today's episode is to really talk about those situations where we say, we'll slow down when things settle down. You have the best of intentions to settle down at some point, to slow down at some point, but tomorrow never comes. That slow down, that rest never comes unless you're intentional about it. So today's episode is entitled When Tomorrow Never Comes, Why Self-Care is a Leadership Issue. We often don't think about self-care and health as a part of leadership, but hopefully you can see the natural fit in that today. Today's guest is Holly Bertone. I am so excited to have her here for many reasons. We're actually sitting down for the first time to get to know each other today, and I always think it's fun to have a guest on that I haven't really been able to get to know. So we'll authentically be learning about one another in the episode. But she's also a speaker this year at the Tri-State Leadership Summit, which brought us together. But I want you to learn a little bit about her background. She is a former counterintelligence chief of staff from the FBI. She now is the CEO of Pink Fortitude and in holistic health, which has been an important part of my health journey ever since I've had my issues with Lyme disease. So it's kind of bringing all the pieces together for me, that leadership, the self-care. She's an important part of this upcoming summit, and I'm excited to learn from her today. So thank you for being here, Holly. I'm so excited.
Yeah, Sierra, thank you so much for having me on the show for the summit as well.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you just came into my life so randomly. I don't know if you remember how it happened, but Kylie messaged me one day after, I think it was a CVBA event.
It was.
And said, I think there's someone you need to meet. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm excited. Who is it? And then when I read about you and your journey and everything that you do, I was like, this sounds like a perfect fit. So I was so glad she met you that day. I felt like it was meant to be. So
it really was.
Yeah. Well, thanks for traveling in for the episode. Before we dig into today's topic, I want you to share a little bit about your background, where you're from, as much as you're comfortable sharing about yourself personally and professionally, and then we'll get into what brings you here today.
Sure thing. And before I get into that, I really want to just thank you for this voice, for this podcast, this beautiful space, for all of the guests that you've had on your show. And for everyone listening, I don't think you understand the magnitude of what it takes to put on a production like this. So if you're listening, I really encourage you to leave a 5-star rating and review, because that's really going to help to get the word out and get the show across more listeners. I left my 5-star rating and review. Did I say 4 or 5? I meant 5. If I said 4, I meant 5.
No, I think you said 5.
Okay, we're going with 5. Give it a 5-star rating and review. I left mine this morning and have been binging on a bunch of episodes, and this is just such a great show and such a great space.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. You know what? I don't typically ask for reviews, so thanks for doing that for me. I appreciate it. So, I'm pretty sure you have your own podcast too.
I do. It's called Weight Loss Forensics.
Okay, so people need to follow that. I'm assuming Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the places.
Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Substack.
Oh, nice. Okay, so we'll have to share a little bit about that later in the episode. So thanks again.
Sure.
Tell us a little about your background.
I spent 13 years, my career at the FBI. I was the chief of staff for the Counterintelligence Division's Program Management Office.
Okay.
I was not an agent. I was a pattern nerd. And what I did and what my team did is we looked at patterns of spies and espionage and then took our findings to the executives, and they were able to then help make executive level decisions for the division. This was back before the big databases. This was back before I mean, I was at the FBI from 2004 until 2017.
Okay.
So when I left was just when the FBI was getting some of the bigger databases in. So a lot of what we did was manual. And we did not rely on computers like we do today with AI and everything like that. It was our own brains. It was our own critical thinking. And you and I were talking about puzzles before we hit record. When I was 10 years old, I loved doing puzzles, but the 1,000-piece puzzles got really boring. So what I did was I took 3 different 1,000-piece puzzles. We had this huge dining room table, dumped them out, mixed them up, and then put them together. This was 10 years old.
That's intense.
Yeah. But that's how my brain has always worked. And I actually know the last few episodes you were talking about the patterns with the speakers that you had on the podcast and your guest. That was my area of expertise.
Okay.
In 2017, 2010, I went through breast cancer treatment, surgery, chemo, radiation. My health did not improve, but I kept going 1,000 miles an hour and was then diagnosed with an autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's. It affects the thyroid. And then 2017, my health got to a place where I could not keep up the fast pace at the FBI. I could not keep up being married, having a stepson, having a high-powered career, and taking care of my health. So we made the big decision for me to be a stay-at-home stepmom.
Okay.
And I took care of my stepson, helped to raise him, all the while taking care of my health, which got me down the road of looking into holistic health. And over the course of several years, ended up with 4 different health and holistic health and nutrition and metabolic health types of certifications under my belt. And when I got divorced in 2022, it was at a time where I had completely lost myself. I had gained a bunch of weight. And despite, quote unquote, being a health coach, I was not a healthy health coach. I was eating a bunch of processed healthy food that was organic and gluten-free and all of the things that they put on the boxes, but it was still processed food.
Yeah.
And I had gained a bunch of weight. I was in a place where I just let myself go, and I was not okay with that. So post-divorce was really when I tried to pick myself back up. And I realized that everything that I had learned in my 4 certifications was not working. It was not getting me healthy. It was not helping me to lose weight. So I went back to what I am really good at, and that is the patterns. And that is the patterns and the threat analysis that I did at the FBI. And I said, what if I did this on myself? What does that look like? And I did. And that is how the emotional eating forensics framework methodology was born. I adopted it for myself. I adopted it for my clients, and the students in my programs have now had hundreds of women do this with great success. And realizing that there is a huge disconnect between what is traditionally taught and how life actually works. Because what is traditionally taught, there's no connection between real life. There's no connection between the stressful job. It doesn't tell you how to do this when you're running late, when you're stuck in traffic, when your phone's on 3% battery, when you got to fight with your spouse, and then you come into work and your boss dumps a project on you, makes you stay late, and then you end up just eating everything in sight. And then we talked about self-care. And then you're supposed to, like, the experts are like, oh, you're supposed to do this self-care thing. No, I don't have time. I don't have the energy. I'm going 1,000 miles an hour and there is no brake pedal.
Yeah. Amazing. I think it is so cool how you were able to kind of merge the two worlds together, and take the thing that you were such an expert at already and tie it to the area you felt you needed to grow in. So I love that. It's interesting what you said about the gluten-free diet, for example. I literally just said this to Matt the other day. When I was going through my Lyme and I had to remove like 15 different allergens from my diet. It was like an autoimmune protocol. Okay. I remember starting to eat gluten-free. And when I first started being gluten-free, there weren't tons of options. Well, when they started to come out, I'm like, oh, there's this option. I can have gluten-free bread. I can have this. And I gained 50 pounds by eating gluten-free. So you think like, oh, it's healthier, it's gluten-free, but I actually gained weight through it. So just because it was labeled to appear healthier didn't make it healthier. So when you said that, that's what it made me think of. But what I'm curious about is the moment, I'm trying to understand the moment in your mind where you kind of flipped the switch and said, I can't do it like this anymore, and what that transition looked like for you. Because now I see you jumping up on massive, like, what are they called? Boxes? I don't know. Jumping up on boxes that are taller than you are, right? It's amazing. I see these videos of you so strong, so beautiful. But what did the transition look like? Because I know you didn't snap your fingers to get there.
I did not. So breast cancer was not rock bottom. Hashimoto's was not rock bottom.
Okay.
Resigning from the FBI was not rock bottom. But all of that together, I think what's the phrase, death by 1,000 paper cuts? Mm-hmm. I think all of that together took me to a place where I just realized that I did not want to live like this anymore. And a lot of that was, I felt like I was so out of integrity. I don't know if it was one specific moment, but I would eat healthy, quote unquote, all week long. And then I would eat 3 pints of ice cream over the weekend. So I had a pint on Friday, a pint on Saturday, and a pint on Sunday. And if calorie math was mathing, I should not have been gaining weight because I really wasn't eating a lot of other things. I just kind of subsisted on ice cream. Not recommended, as much as I love ice cream. But I realized that there's so many other underlying issues. And following that protocol of what to eat, or you've got 100 leadership books here. A lot of them talk about behaviors and habits. Mm-hmm. So what is that disconnect between what we eat or how we, whether we're healthy or not healthy, what are those actions and habits? There was a huge disconnect.
Okay.
And that's what I had to get to the bottom of. And what I realized is that we can talk about nervous system regulation. A lot of people think self-care and nervous system regulation falls into that. We can talk about identity, who you are, because how you operate as a person depends on or determines whether you're going to do the healthy thing or you're going to do the unhealthy thing. But there's something in the middle. It's called predictive patterns, because our brain is a predictive pattern machine. Our brain takes our past and it basically tells us how we are going to operate because it predicts how it wants our future to be.
Okay.
That was the biggest aha moment for me, because I realized I can't continue to live like this, but I can't continue to go down that path of traditional advice. Mm-hmm. So I really had to spend hours in the quiet figuring out, how do I solve this puzzle for me? And the very first thing that I did was get quiet with myself. And that was really scary. After being years of an adrenaline junkie, an overachiever, and all of the voices in our heads going nonstop, that was very difficult to get quiet. After that, I had dropped the weight. I used my own methodology. I dropped the weight. But for the last couple of years, I call myself skinny fat.
Okay.
It is a legitimate term. It's where you are thin but not necessarily strong or fit or muscular. my time at the gym, and I've been an athlete my entire life, but my time at the gym had been hit or miss, more miss than hit. So just in the last few months, I started going back to the gym, being very disciplined in that regard, realizing that your weight can determine your health, but it's not the full determining factor. I was 110 pounds when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Okay. So your weight isn't everything. It is an indicator, but realizing I need to get strong. I need to be healthy, not just for me today. I need to be healthy for me, and I'm getting ready to turn 55. I need to be healthy for my 80-year-old self.
Yeah.
I want to be strong. I want to be independent. I want to be able to go up and down stairs. I want to be able to play with my, future grandchildren or great-grandchildren. I don't want to be the frail old lady that has to be left behind. I want to be the strong old lady who's leading the conga line and who everyone looks at and says, I want to be like her.
Yeah.
And realizing that it's not just eating healthy. It's not just going to a gym. It's like we talked about holistic health. It is that piece of holistic health that you bring to yourself.
That's I'm like blown away by what you're sharing right now, because you are helping people connect the dots that took you forever to connect. You've done the hard work for everybody now, and everybody gets to benefit from it. So you've created a community of women that are now applying these strategies that you've put together. That's amazing. So tell me a little bit about what that community looks like and how they engage with you.
So right now I have private clients that work with me one-on-one. I have a group called the Break Emotional Eating Accelerator.
Okay.
And it's a community of women. We just focus on emotional eating. And we look at the brain science behind it. Because so many times it's the food is in front of you and you're like, oh, you just need more willpower or discipline. And it's like, no, if I see it, I'm going to devour it. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. So we focus on those very specific psychological and brain patterns using those FBI tactics. Okay. I also have a brand new program. We have a beta cohort in now, and everyone in the accelerator has been asking for what's next. What is the next step? Like we're doing really good now with the emotional eating. What is our next step? And focusing on that, focusing on weight loss, I'm like, I'm not like other weight loss coaches. I don't want to teach calories. I don't want to teach nutrition. To me, that's just the what. Everyone can teach the what. You can go on ChatGPT and get the what.
Yeah.
I want to fill that gap of why is it not working? I want to fill that gap of why can't you make it sustainable? I want to fill that gap of why do you start and then 2 weeks later you quit? And that's where I'm coming in at with this beta cohort. We're going to be live in September, and it's building the sustainable weight loss machine. So we're looking at weight loss from a different perspective. Yes, I'm helping them with what to eat, but we're looking at it from that perspective of brain-based science. We're looking at it from the perspective of why do you quit? How can you set up your environment so that you don't quit? And how can you stack the cards every single day to consistently win?
Okay. I love the idea of expanding on what you're already doing and giving people the next step. I've been there before where they say, where do we go from here? That sustainable piece is important. I am curious about, I know that your community is focused on women, but have you had men use the program? And if so, what have you noticed?
I have had a few men in the program, and the principles are universal.
Yeah.
But the majority of my clients and students are women age 35 to 65.
Okay.
To get that middle of the bell curve. I have worked with men. I've worked with women in their 20s. My oldest client is 80 years old.
Oh, that's amazing. I was just curious because I know that for a lot of women, female business owners, they will create communities of women to be that safe, comfortable place to learn from one another. But Matt and I were just talking this weekend as we were going through the grocery store. He was trying to find an ice cream that met his diet that he's on right now. And he was like, we should figure out which one Holly's always eating.
Ice cream for bears.
Okay. Is that what it's called?
Ice cream for bears.
Where can you get it?
Locally, they have it at the Giant, but a lot of Whole Foods and Sprouts and
Okay.
those types of stores
There,
have it
there
too.
you go, Matthew. That's the one. You do come up in our conversation a lot. You just
That's
don't know
funny.
it. Okay, so I want to kind of rewind a little bit and go back to this mindset, competitive people, type A personalities that get it done and have that drive all the time. Why do you think we have this mindset of, I am going to slow down, just not yet. Things are going to settle down and I'll be there soon. Were you there? Did you have that mindset of you were always looking ahead and it's coming, but you never got there?
I did it, and I also see it all of the time. It's natural, and I'm going to get a little brain geeky. If you're wearing glasses, you can push your glasses up right now. We're going to nerd out a little bit. So our brain's job is to keep us safe and alive. And our brain does not like change because change equals something that our brain does not know, which means it's not safe. So the cool thing about this is that your brain's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. When you say, I'm going to start when work slows down. I'm going to start when vacation's over. I'm going to start when the kids are back in school. I'm going to start when the kids are out of school. I'm going to start when the kids are done their break. Like all of these excuses that we have. And what our brain does, it doesn't just convince us to not change. It makes us think that it is our idea. And when we think it's our idea, we're like, and think about anything that you think of, like your idea, you're going to own it in anything you think of. So, of course, we're going to own it.
Yeah.
And we hang on to that. And it's almost like it becomes so rote, like, hi, how are you? I'm great. How are you? It's just like what we say. We have no interest in actually doing it. It's just our brain protecting ourselves.
That makes total sense. I think about my mom has always been the one to ask me, like, you can't sustain this year. How much longer are you going to be doing this? And I would be like, oh, just another month, then my schedule slows down. Don't worry. And then a month later, she'll say, Sierra, it's a month later and I'm not seeing any changes. When are things going to slow down? And I will always say, well, looking at my schedule, it looks like, you know what I mean? And I'll look a couple months out, the schedule seems easier. Well, then I fill it up. And it's the same way all over again. And so...
And I think, sorry to interrupt,
Yeah,
but
no,
I
you're
think
fine.
as overachievers too, we get addicted to the dopamine.
Yeah.
We get addicted to always being on the go, going 100 miles an hour. And dopamine, everyone thinks it's the reward chemical. It's the anticipation chemical. So the dopamine hits when you are in anticipation, not when you actually get the thing.
Okay.
So when we're kicking that can down the road, we are in constant state of anticipation. And that
Right.
dopamine is kicking in, saying, yeah, you can keep going. You can keep going. I like going this speed, even though it's not the best for us.
Yeah. So I'm curious about warning signs. Obviously, the breast cancer got your attention, but leading up to that, were you noticing anything that was telling you your body was depleted, you needed to give it more attention that you were just ignoring?
I was 39 years old and thought I was invincible. I was a competitive mountain bike racer.
Okay.
And again, I was thin, I was athletic, I was quote unquote healthy. I was also, I would say probably 90-95% of my diet at that point was processed foods. And by processed foods, I don't even mean healthy processed foods. I mean French fries, pizza, ice cream, the bad ice cream, not the good ice cream. There's a difference. There is a difference. The chicken tenders, any Reese's cups, just anything and everything that was just junk food. Chick-fil-A, like all of this stuff. So what I noticed at that point was that I was a little tired and just not quite on, but that was the only thing that I noticed before I was diagnosed. Looking back, I can say, okay, I was going 1,000 miles an hour at the FBI, and then I would be training hard as a competitive athlete. I was going nonstop.
Yeah.
My life was nonstop. So that right there is a warning sign in and of itself.
So are you someone that needs like a full 8 hours of sleep like me?
I do.
Okay.
8 to 9 hours of sleep.
Okay. Agreed. Were you waking up still tired
Yes.
after a full night's sleep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's only been in the last couple of years that, since I've implemented everything, that I'm actually sleeping and waking up rested.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I did not even realize that was possible.
Well, I'm glad you're able to experience that now. Maybe I can get there at some point. I feel like my body naturally will wake me up even if I don't have an alarm set, but it'll still be like around 6:30, and that can be 10 hours for me, and I still wake up exhausted. But it's autoimmune, it's thyroid, it's all the things. But I don't like to use that as an excuse at the same time. So I'm like, what is within my control? And that's what I think I need to think more about. So would you say that this tends to happen gradually over time? Like if I were to call this burnout, okay, people burning out, that it's just slowly building over time, or it just hits all of a sudden because your body's been going for so long and then it's just like, I can't take this?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's like the, the frog in the boiling water? When you put a frog in regular water and turn the heat up gradually, it doesn't know that the heat's going up and it'll, die in the boiling water. But if you put a frog in boiling water, it'll jump out.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what we're doing, is that we are putting so much on ourselves. We're kicking the can down the road. We're saying we're going to stop, or things are going to change when the project's over, on Monday, when vacation's over. And we keep going and we keep pushing. And then we're going to break at some point. Our bodies are not designed to hold that type of chronic stress and that type of chronic lifestyle.
Yeah. So beyond being tired, what connections have you made between your physical health and your ability to lead effectively?
I want to tell a story. It has nothing to do with me.
Okay.
I think I was driving in the quiet this morning and just thinking about our conversation. A while back, I did a behavioral profile on James Hetfield, who is the lead singer of Metallica.
Okay.
Like, okay, Holly, where is this going? Even if you don't like Metallica, just this is a good story. Looking back at early days of Metallica, in the 90s, 30 years ago, and James Hetfield was in a very dark place in his life. Watching the videos, hearing his voice, he's got a very angry face and a very angry voice. You can hear the anger in his voice. And he also, obviously has said that when he's off stage, he's leading that stereotypical rock star lifestyle. I'm not going to say anything, but we all know what that entails. Fast forward 30 years, he has been in and out of rehab. He's done the work. Looking at him now and looking at him recording and in concerts, his face is soft and his voice is pure. Like, his voice sounds so pure now compared to back then. He was just screaming. He was screaming out all of the demons that he could not face. And he has faced those demons. And now, instead of leading that stereotypical rock star life, he lives in the middle of nowhere, and he is a beekeeper, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
One of the most iconic lead singers ever is a beekeeper. Okay, and you're like, Holly, where is this going, and what does this have to do with leadership? Your leadership role is the stage. That is your stage. Your leadership role at work. And you're doing all of the things that you can do to be the best leader that you can at work. But then what happens is that you go home. And if your home is chaos, and I'm not saying anyone's here is leading a rock star lifestyle, but make that into what that looks like for you. If that home life is chaos, you're then bringing that back into your work and bringing that chaos into work. And then when work is chaos, you're bringing that chaos into home. And there's never a break.
Yeah.
But when you can set up those, the bumpers, like bowling, like they do the bumpers for the kids, set up those bumpers in your life. We like to call them boundaries. Boundaries is a really scary word. When you set up those bumpers and you can be in that place where all of the chaos is happening around you, but you don't make it yours. Where even though the kids are crazy, the spouse is crazy, the boss is crazy, the coworker, like even though there's always going to be this stuff going on, you have that control over you. And it's when you walk off of that stage and you can be in that place where you are quiet and peaceful, that is the difference.
Yeah.
That right there is such a huge difference.
If you're leading a team or organization, you've probably realized this. One training session doesn't change behavior. That's why at SLC, we design customized leadership development programs, not one-time events. We work with organizations to build alignment, strengthen communication, and create leadership systems that actually stick. If your team is ready for something intentional, fill out our organizational interest survey linked in the show notes or visit sierralearnership.com. That's sierralearnership.com. If your follow-up moves slower than DMV traffic, it may be time for Work Smarter Digital. Work Smarter Digital gives small businesses a fully built, ready-to-run CRM sales system so you can stop wasting months setting up software and start following up tomorrow. This is your sign. Get the CRM. Get the system. Get moving. Visit WorkSmarterDigital.com to learn more and book a demo. That's WorkSmarterDigital.com. If you're considering sending your team to something this year, the question isn't just, will they enjoy it? It's, will it change how they operate when they come back? TSLS is designed for that. Clarity, better decisions, stronger execution. Join us October 14th. Secure your seat at thetsls.com. That's thetsls.com. If you think about, the typical person today, how much time they actually spend in the quiet. I even feel like in the shower, I listen to podcasts. Like in the car, I'm listening to podcasts. I will sometimes ride quietly in the car. If it's been one of those days, I will sit in silence for the entire hour. But we have noise all the time. So you said right before we started the podcast episode about doing puzzles and that being a part of your quiet. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that and how you even came to being a puzzler?
Yeah. So, I 100% agree. The quiet is scary because we are alone with our thoughts. Mm-hmm. So it's easier to put music on. It's easier to put a podcast on. It's easy to doom scroll on social media. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many people I have talked to who can't even sit down and watch TV. So it's not even about being quiet. It's always having something to do. Mm-hmm. So you think about it, you sit down and watch TV, you've got a bag of chips there, or you've got your laptop, or you're scrolling on your phone, and while you're watching TV, it's so hard to focus these days.
It is.
It is really hard to focus. Being quiet is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. And it is so hard because sometimes you confront the voices in your head, and that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But that also helps to regulate your nervous system, to help put you into that calm, to get you out of that chaos, whether that is just pure time in the quiet, whether that's prayer or meditation. Mm-hmm. For me, I like to puzzle. Sometimes I puzzle in the quiet. Sometimes I'll put like a walking meditation on that I can do without my eyes
closed.
Not Metallica.
Okay.
I listen to Metallica when I'm in the gym.
Okay. That seems appropriate.
Yeah. This is quiet time. And I have a space in my home, and it's just in the back, and it overlooks some green space, and I get to sit and just look at the sky and look at the grass and just have quiet time. Yeah. And it centers me every single day. I would say the majority of days, some days doesn't always work, but the majority of the days of the week, I will take 1 hour for lunch, and I will sit in the quiet and I will do my puzzle and just kind of regroup and get back into it for the afternoon.
That's a great practice. I love that. So I was wondering about your quiet, if it's the same exact time every day, if it's a guaranteed amount of time, how do you structure your day?
I like to do it, not always, I'm not perfect, but I like to do it 3 times a day.
Okay.
Ideally 4, but 3 times. First thing is in the morning. that morning routine is a non-negotiable. I don't care how busy the day is. Even if it is 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, a lot of time I try to do 10 or 15. And I will start my day in the quiet. I start my day first in the quiet and just get centered, and then prayer, and then meditation, and then I read my Bible, all before I get out of bed. And that is my time to just center myself. And it's also what I recommend to my clients. I don't care what that looks like for you, what your practice is or what your belief system is, whatever works for you to get centered.
Yeah.
And take those few minutes before you get out of bed, before your eyes open, before you jump on your phone, to really just center yourself. And it's surprising what the results are. The second time is at lunch. Okay. And again, that's just more of a reset. The bonus time is in the afternoon, depending on the day. If I have a little bit of time in the afternoon after work, I will also have some quiet time. And then at night before I go to bed, and this one's hard for me still, I like to watch TV at night like everyone else. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, one more show. And what I really try to do instead is to read for 15 minutes before I go to sleep. And even just that little bit of quiet time. And then, again, have some prayer, some meditation, just as I'm falling asleep. And that has really helped me to just center myself at multiple touch points throughout the day.
Yeah. I'm curious about your phone usage. So you mentioned like in the morning doing it before you even get on your phone. So is that a practice for you too? I'm not going to touch my phone. I'm going to go through this kind of morning ritual before I even look at what's on there.
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
And then how long before bed do you set it aside and not touch it?
I am working on that. Let's just say that. I'm not the best. I am not the best. When I'm reading, the phone is completely off. But if I'm just watching TV and going to bed, I'm just going to admit it. I am not the best.
It's okay. We all have room for improvement. That's for sure. I was just speaking with a client last week who had shared that he has started meditation in between, kind of his buffer between work and home, because he was realizing he was bringing so much stress into the home. And so he said he goes home, he sits on the front porch for about 10 to 15 minutes in silence before he enters the house, and how appreciative his wife has been that she can notice the difference. Like she just gives him that time, and then he comes in and they can focus on their relationship. And that seems to be working really well.
Transitions are really hard for a lot of people, myself included.
Yeah. I can see that. So what are some of the other strategies? So creating that quiet or calm to even be able to reflect and hear those voices that you might be avoiding. What are some other practices? And they don't have to relate to the emotional eating piece, just in general for us to care for ourselves in the way we should.
I think a lot of people hear the word self-care and they think, and especially women, like, oh, I have to go get a pedicure or I need to go get a massage. And the problem with that is that you take that hour and then you're like, oh, and you feel amazing at the end of the 60 minutes or the 90 minutes, however long it takes. You feel amazing. You get back in the car, and the second you start the car, the weight of the world comes right back on you. So we like to call that self-care, or a bubble bath, right? We like to think that that is what self-care is, when in reality, it's not working, because after it's done, you're still stressed to the max. The way that I like to look at it is, and I like to say, you're creating the machine in your body, MACHINE. So M is meaning and purpose, and that is regardless of whether it's volunteering or whether it's just, the work that you do or the kids that you're raising, like having that meaning and purpose in your life and fulfilling on that every single day. It's your associates, social and spiritual. It's having that connection with God. It's having that connection with other people. And not just that, but are those people, are they filling your battery or are they draining your battery? It's not just being around people. It's what are those people actually like I'm sure in one of these books here it talks about the 5 people that you spend your time with. That's exactly it. So MAC is the common inner stillness. I think we've hit on that. H is hibernation. That is your sleep. And it's not just the amount of sleep, but it's the quality of sleep. I is your ingredients. How are you feeding yourself? How are you fueling yourself? Are you fueling yourself with real whole foods from nature, or are you fueling yourself with processed foods in a box that say great slogans like heart healthy and gluten-free and high protein? MACHIN. N is time in nature, oftentimes combined with your common inner stillness. And then E is your exercise and your movement.
I love that. We'll have to write that out in the show notes for people as well. That's an easier way to remember it. I love acronyms. They're very helpful for me. So as you were saying that, there was one of them I wanted to hit on. It was the nature.
Okay.
I've had a lot of people in my life recently talking about grounding. And so I know my dad used to like go outside and literally sit and with his feet on the ground. But now there are these products like you plug into the outlet and the wall and like plant your feet on it or sleep on it. Have you used anything like that before?
I do.
Okay.
I like to, and I don't spray my grass with Roundup, so my grass is pure. I can go out and walk barefoot and not have any issues. So I do like the traditional barefoot in the grass. I do sleep on a grounding sheet. I do. And the other thing too, and if you don't have grass or you don't want to buy a grounding mat or a grounding sheet, just a visual practice that you can do is just pretend that you have roots growing out of your feet and just going deep into the ground.
I love that concept. My thing is always like, I hear all the things you should do, but I always wonder how many of them are actually helping. So like I have the grounding mat. It sits at home. It's under my desk. Is it always plugged in? No. Do I notice a difference the days that I use it? I don't know. Yeah. Like, am I creating the difference in my head, or does it actually exist? Or does that matter? Right?
I don't know if it matters, right?
Yeah. I guess it's just that I'm trying. Okay, this is really helpful. So I want to connect this to the concept of the weight of leadership. So I know at Tri-State Leadership Summit, you're going to be talking about the weight of leadership, and I don't want you to give away everything you're going to be sharing. But when you say the weight of leadership, tell me what that means to you.
Okay, first of all, I am so excited. I am so excited to speak. I'm so excited for the summit, and I'm so excited to hear all of the other speakers. One of my... Slight tangent. One of my favorite things about going to conferences like this is that, I mean, obviously you're doing a phenomenal job organizing all of the speakers, and there's always going to be a common theme. So we're all out there months ahead of time prepping our own stuff. And you have the titles, you have the blurbs, you have an idea of where we're going, but you don't know exactly what we're all going to say.
Yeah.
Every single time, there is so many common threads that come out.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm a pattern nerd.
Yeah,
that
there
is
you
what
go.
I look forward to is like, what are those connections? And then speaking of connections and connecting with other people too. So I'm excited about that. I think when we think about, so being a weight loss coach and in the weight loss space, again, the traditional viewpoint is I have to lose weight, physical weight. It's all about the scale. And the ironic part is that when women start to lose weight, they realize it has nothing to do with the scale. The scale is just going to be, at some point, a lagging indicator.
Yeah.
It's actually the weight on their shoulders. It's the emotional weight. It's the mental weight before the physical weight. And especially as leaders, we are carrying around that weight on our shoulders. We're carrying around the emotional weight. We're carrying around the mental weight of, and for a lot of people, they're the monkey in the middle between the big bosses and the people that they're leading. So not just we're being leaders of our own people, but then we also have to report and figure out that balance. We've got coworkers, sometimes negative, sometimes drama, all of the things that happen in a traditional workspace. And then we come home and we are leaders in our own capacity at home. And all of that carries such a weight that we don't even realize that we're carrying.
Yeah. I think I might have mentioned this in a previous episode, but it's been over 100 now, so people might not remember it. But what you said just reminded me of a therapist that I worked with in the past. One day, she came into the appointment with this bin of rocks, and she told me to share all the things that were weighing on me at the time. And so every time I'd say something, she took a Sharpie and wrote on the rock kind of a key word that defined that area of my life that I was struggling with. And so she was like, just do a brain dump, just keep it coming. And we actually ran out of rocks. It was a lot. But then after we finished, she handed me the bucket and said, feel the weight of what you're carrying with you all the time. And that blew my mind, because each day then that I met with her, we'd pull one and we'd talk through that one and just focus on how can I get rid of this weight? And then I would release it, right? But I had never thought about all those things that are going around in my head, how much weight each of them held. And so I'm seeing the connection between that and what you're saying right now.
And such a phenomenal visual. I mean, great on her. Such a phenomenal visual representation for you to be like, that's something you're never going to forget.
Yeah, I will never. It was so heavy. I could barely lift it because I'm skinny fat.
And I've heard you on several of your episodes talk about leadership starts with you.
Yeah.
Like, we think leadership is about leading other people, but leadership starts with you. Leadership starts within. And when you're carrying that weight on your own, like, how are you supposed to carry anything else?
Yeah. Yeah, because every client I work with, every coaching session that I have, there is some transition of weight from them to me that's occurring as well. So I'm not just carrying my weight or the family weight or the weight of running a business and everything associated with that, but I have to be cognizant of the weight that I carry when a client's experiencing a difficult time, right? And that transfer that occurs. So it's a lot. And I know we all have that going on. So, what can we do to intentionally release some of that? And you've given us a lot of really cool practices today. So, I want to give you the opportunity to go back and share a little bit about the podcast that you have and what people could expect to hear as far as content goes on that podcast.
Oh my goodness. So it is called Weight Loss Forensics. It has gone through multiple rebrands and it landed there because I really feel like it infuses my FBI background with where we are currently at in the weight loss space. So again, it's Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Substack. And we don't necessarily talk about traditional weight loss or what to eat or calories or macros or anything like that. We talk about what's going on behind the scenes, what got us here. I look at trends. I look at some of it's kind of unhinged. Get a little contrarian on some of the episodes. A little bit of a conspiracy theory at some point with some of the the foods that we're being fed and the ingredients and things like that. So we go down some really interesting rabbit holes. One of my hobbies, I like to read declassified CIA documents. So sometimes I infuse some things from there as well. So it's looking at weight loss from a very different lens.
Yeah.
And I feel like, especially in such a, I don't even know what the word is to describe the weight loss space. It's very brutal. It's brutal on women. It's just the messaging, you have to be thin at all cost, or, you have to starve yourself. It's just a very brutal space, which I do not believe in any of that. It's called a diet culture for a reason. It is a diet cult. It is not a culture. And I don't believe in any of that. I believe that our Creator made us sovereign. Like, we have everything that we need within. He has given us everything that we need. You think even back 40, 50 years ago, you don't even have to go back to biblical times, but 40, 50 years ago, we didn't have all of the stuff that we have now. And people thrived. They were just fine. So we have everything we need. And when you can go back to the basics, we can actually not just go back to the basics, but really start to untangle all of those messy cords that got us there. I think having that understanding will help people be like, okay, it's not just what I eat. There are so many other factors out there.
Well, I want to listen to it now, especially with the conspiracy stuff. Are we going to be talking about like whether or not we should eat salad right now? That was the discussion at a restaurant with his family yesterday, because normally folks would get salad and they're like, I don't think I'm going to get it. And I was like, well, this is a good excuse for me. Yeah. So I really do want to listen to the episodes and hear some of the insights. I think it's very interesting that you're reading declassified documents. That's not something I have ever thought about before, and now I want to know what's inside of them. So I'm going to be hooked.
I like at the, I wouldn't say every episode, but a lot of the episodes at the end, we do what I call a CSI Red Yarn moment. And if you think about the old, the TV shows, the police TV shows, or the Law and Order, and they always have the red yarn going between, you've got the victim and you've got the suspects and how everyone's connected. And that's really what I feel like is sets the show apart, is that it's not just what to do or what to eat. It's like, okay, let's start connecting these dots.
The dots. That's so cool. And now I'll have the visual when I'm listening to it as well. So how long have you been doing the podcast? It's been a long time, right?
It has 200 and some episodes.
That's amazing. And it's always you solo?
For the most part, it is me solo.
Okay. And you do it from your home?
I do.
Or you have okay, that's so cool. Yeah, I feel bad for not watching it prior to this.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. There's a video aspect, right? It's not just audio. It's video as well.
Audio and video.
Very cool. Very cool. And then for Pink Fortitude, I was wondering, first of all, where the name came from.
When I first started health coaching, I needed to, make it legally protect, have a name, have a employee identity, or what is it, the EIN number, whatever it's called. And trying to find a name, I went with Pink, the nod to breast cancer, the nod to women, which back then was a little closer to, what I was working. And then fortitude was my mother's life mantra. She always says, it builds fortitude. And not just, she had a hard life, and she had such a positive outlook. So that is how the name came to be. These days it's more Holly Bertone. It's more of a personal brand versus, the company name is more just for legal purposes.
Yeah.
But it does have a very sweet backstory.
Oh, I love that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So where can people find information about your podcast and about your business?
So for the podcast, Weight Loss Forensics, on all of the platforms, the best way to connect with me is on Instagram. So at holly.bertone, Bertone. So send me a message, say hello. When you message me, if you comment the word profile, I will send you an emotional eating psychological profile that goes deep into the dark psychology of why you eat. It's personalized based on your answers. And so that's kind of fun too.
Yes, that is fun. I might have to do that.
Yeah, and I am a little unhinged on Instagram. I know we follow each other on Facebook, but I am a little unhinged on Instagram because, again, I
was going to say, is this a warning label?
It is. I'm not a fan of the weight loss space and how a lot of people represent themselves.
Yeah,
and I also feel like when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to emotional eating, they're very serious topics, but we don't always have to be so serious, even though they are.
Yeah.
And to make people smile, to make people laugh, to connect with people. I'm, eating ice cream. I'm cracking dad jokes. I'm not a dad, but I'm cracking dad jokes or whatever. I'm sitting on the floor eating, beef roast with my pug there. I'm doing cartwheels and, all the crazy stuff in the gym. Like, I want to make it fun.
Yeah.
And I want to make it real and not perfect. It's not curated. It's not perfect. It's just, this is real life and this is how we get through it.
I love that. I feel like that must be one of your values, that authenticity and fun.
Yeah.
Fair?
It really is.
Okay. Well, I always like to wrap up an episode by sharing a branching out challenge. So we've talked about a lot of things, and it's not just about the emotional eating piece, but it sounds like these strategies that you share really apply to anyone and everyone, things that we should be doing to care for ourselves effectively. But what is the one thing, if someone's going to take one step in the right direction today, even the smallest step, what would you recommend that they do?
Everything that I do, or the majority of what I do, is based around FBI tactics. And the 3-step process that I take all of my clients and students through, it's called see it, stop it, shift it. And the first part is see it, because when you're not aware of what's going on, you really can't change it. Mm-hmm. So having that awareness, and sometimes it's easier to have that awareness on other people before you can look at yourself. Because when we look at ourselves, it's like, ooh, I got to change, and that's scary. Mm-hmm. But even just go to the grocery store and just observe what people are putting in their carts. Or when you're at the next lunch or dinner, just listen to what people are saying when they order. Mm-hmm. Oh, I really shouldn't have dessert. And as the server's walking off, you know what? I'm going to have a piece of cake. Or I'm having salad today, but I'm having salad today because I need to be good. I'm on a diet. Listen to what people are saying, and you're going to hear the same things over and over again. Oh. And then just have that awareness. That is the see it part. Have that awareness, and that'll help you bring a light to where, what really is coming up for you and where you can start.
I love that. That's a great first step. Slowing down enough to observe too, yeah. Right? I think that's the hardest part, is slowing down to be present and in the moment, not in our phones
exactly.
or staring at it as some sort of screen. That's a great tip. This segment is brought to you by Work Smarter Digital. Your leads aren't ghosting you, you're ghosting them. Work Smarter Digital gives small businesses a fully built, ready-to-run CRM sales system so you can stop wasting months setting up software and start following up tomorrow. Don't leave your revenue hanging. Start working smarter today. Visit WorkSmarterDigital.com to learn more and book a demo. That's WorkSmarterDigital.com. So I always want to give the opportunity, if there was something you wanted to share but you didn't have the opportunity to, is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience today?
I feel like so many people think that their lives are too busy, or they're too far gone, or they're too old, or they're too overweight, or too anything. Mm-hmm. And I'm living proof. My 80-year-old client is actually even better living proof that you are never too old, you're never too busy, you're never too overweight, you're never too anything. When you start today, you're going to start to see changes.
Yeah. Don't wait for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. That's a great way to close. Thank you so much, Holly, for being here. You've shared so many great tidbits, and now I can't wait to hear you speak at the summit. I know you'll be sharing even more. Thank you for traveling down here today. Thanks for sharing this with our audience. I really hope that people start to follow you. I know I will, and I want to know about this behavioral profile. Is that what you called it?
Yes.
I want to know more about this. So you've got me hooked already.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been such fun.
Of course. And thank you for sticking through to the end of the episode. I really hope you found value. And if you think someone else would benefit from listening into this episode, share it. Share it with a friend. Share it with a family member, a colleague, anyone that you think needs to consider that weight that they're carrying and maybe slow down a little bit and be more mindful of how they're caring for themselves. We also would love to see you at the Tri-State Leadership Summit coming up this October 14th. It's hard to believe we're less than 3 months away. That blew my mind the other day when I realized we were a year out, and all of a sudden we snapped our fingers and we're 3 months away. So If you want to learn more about the summit, be sure to visit thetSLS.com. Again, that's thetSLS.com. Be sure to also subscribe to our podcast. They come out every Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. We want to make sure you get those notifications and you can stay in touch with us. We love to hear those leadership challenges that you're facing so that we can unpack them in episodes too. We can even create an episode just based on those topics you submit. So be sure to reach out at info@thebranchingOutpodcast.com, info@branchingoutpodcast.com. Thanks again, and until next time, keep branching out. Before we wrap up today's episode, I want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for choosing to spend your time here. I don't take that lightly, and I'm really grateful you're a part of this community. If something from today's conversation resonated with you, I want to encourage you to do a couple of things. First, take one small step. Not everything, just one. Growth doesn't come from hearing more, it comes from applying what you already know. And second, share this episode with someone who could benefit from it. These conversations are meant to spark growth, and you never know who might need to hear exactly what you just heard. If you haven't already, be sure to follow or subscribe to Branching Out with Sierra so you don't miss future episodes. And if you believe in this mission, helping people apply leadership skills to everyday life, and you're interested in sponsoring the podcast, I'd love to connect. You can find more information in the show notes or reach out directly. Quick note before we close, this podcast is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. While we share insights and experiences to support your growth, it's always important to apply what fits your situation and seek professional guidance when needed. And finally, I want you to hear this, no matter where you are in your journey, whether you are leading a team, growing a business, navigating change, or just trying to show up better each day, you are exactly where you need to be to take your next step. And you have the ability to positively influence others in every interaction you have. I'm rooting for you, I believe in your growth, and I'm here to support you along the way. Thanks for being here.